Hey everybody, this is Dallas here. I just wanted to try something different today. I've been playing a lot of video games the past couple days here. Just kind of slowly transitioning to my new job, and what I have this week here to kind of enjoy myself and get back to what it is that I love doing, which is playing video games. Not only do I love making video games, but I also enjoy playing video games, which I hope makes sense. Um, so today, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to. This is Diablo 3, and I'm going to try this thing where it's difficult for me to 3D model nowadays, because now I'm going to be actually modeling it as a job, 8 to 10 hours a day. So I'm gonna actually try and dissect, the games that I've been playing and figure out what some of the. Oh, sorry, should I turn on the sound for Dabble? Maybe. Okay. Kind of just dissect what they're doing and kind of break down how they build their environments. And this is kind of like a good homework for me, so I can kind of see what some of the top companies are doing, and this way also kind of show you guys, how it is that I'd go about dissecting it, and kind of see the in and outs of the industry and how they do things. So this is, I'm pretty sure this is or New Tristram, and um, I was gonna be in this region anyways because I had to go and sell a bunch of stuff. But that's not our main focus. Our main focus is kind of the environments. So the very first thing that pops in my head with this is obviously a set piece, right, for the environment. A prop modeler obviously went in and built this piece for them. And very first thing that I want to mention right away is that a lot of like video games, it's all about it's all about faking everything, right? Making things look correct and trying to make things as fast as possible, but it still looks good, right? So with this piece, I can tell that it's obviously mirrored, right? So what I mean by mirrored is they built just half of this and then they just duplicated it. Now, what makes it look different from this left side and this right side, is actually the props in front of it, right? Like this one has like a shield and like a couple barrels, right? Whereas this one doesn't. This one instead has swords, right? And that's really cool, how they kind of broke that up. And if you notice that this shield right here, back here, is actually the same shield here, right? And everything is kind of duplicated, right? You see these fire pit things on top of the ceiling, right? Same thing. What also makes this piece look and feel different is these forge armor pieces and this forge weapons piece, right? It's different, and then this being in kind of over on this side, right, kind of helps frames it. Now, what's really awesome about Diablo is it's a 3/4 view. I actually don't know if you can rotate the camera around, so you can't really see the back parts of this, which means that Blizzard probably does not even model the back pieces. So whatever's behind here, they probably don't even model it, which is really cool, right? And I also noticed that these little things here. So obviously, what they probably did is they probably just built, like, this piece is probably the exact same piece as this. All they really did was they just duplicated it and they just rotated it, right, to make it look different. Here you can tell this is probably just like a simple polygon cube to make this log going through. They've just probably added a little edge loop here to nick it, move it a little bit, to give it this kind of more cartoony, stylized feel, right? You try not to make things look too straight, because if things look too straight, it doesn't feel like there's no wear and tear. It's like a perfect building, and obviously in this world,
will be restored,
everything
friend.
is supposed to feel like it's being handmade, right? Like someone actually cut this with a saw, or someone hammered this together with a hammer, and not being manufactured, right? So for example, even this little lamp post here, it's not completely straight. It actually has a little small nick here, and everything's moved a little bit to the side. And you can see that right here. Again, just to showcase that things just aren't, they're not straight, they're not perfect, right? Um, what I've also noticed with these houses, these are really cool houses. So again, they build this one piece and this little stone, and you'll notice that they might have like maybe two or three variations of it, like these stone hedges, right? Like you can tell this is the exact same thing as this, okay? Um, the only thing is that it's flipped, right? It's flipped, and that's what. But people don't. I mean, these are things that people are gonna go walk by. They're not even gonna notice, right? Um, but this is just duplicates, right? Like this one is the exact same one as this. It's the exact same thing as this over here, right? You know. The only difference is they add little things like these little towels or blankets, whatever you want to call it, to kind of break it up and to change it up so that it feels different, right? It's these little small touches that really add to it. So I mean, you can kind of see with like, okay, this is something that I just noticed. These doors, this door right here. If you actually go to this door, it's the exact same door, right? But it looks different because they added these 2x4s, and this 2x4 is probably, um, they probably have maybe two or three different variations of this log here, and they just duplicate it and just rotate it, right, to change it up. Um, so that's really cool. That's really neat that they did that there. I'm gonna try and see if I can pick out other things. I mean, obviously the roof texture is being reused, which is really smart. See again, right? The same door texture, right? Same door texture. It even looks like that for even the well, they are using the same roof texture again to save memory or whatever you might, to save memory or whatever for the game. And I'm also noticing that these windows, right? They're exactly the same, and you're gonna notice again they're curved, right? To kind of remember, this is a three-quarter view, I guess is what they call it. So you kind of, to make nice silhouettes, you have to make sure things aren't straight, and to make things look interesting, they cannot be straight. So again, I mean, you can tell that these window textures are they're being reused throughout this whole region or this
I
whole
have
level.
some new items that I'm certain
Right,
you'll
same
love.
thing. This is probably they probably have, I'd say, modular kind of pieces that they've built. So they'll have like this piece is one piece and then this is another piece, and all they really did was they have like maybe 10 different ones that can like snap together to make different types of buildings, which is really cool. And then they might even have like this chimney as like a separate piece that they can just like snap on, and this way they have this chimney, and if they want that chimney again somewhere else, they can do that by just snapping it to another building. So over here, let's look at this gem artisan. Sorry, just sipping on my tea here. So here again, can I get closer? Okay, so a little bit different. This is a little bit different. This, I think, might have started off as a mirrored prop, right? So what they did here is they built this maybe modular at first, and then it might have just looked too perfect, and so they decided to add like this hole up here and then this other kind of side part. Actually, this looks like a broken trailer now that I'm looking at it. So they might have just mirrored it and then just broken it up a bit, right? And then they added this little side piece as like a side prop to kind of make it look really different. See, like now this silhouette looks more interesting because now you got this shape, right? And then you got this bump up top here going around, which is really cool. They kind of just mirrored all these vases or vases down here. Um, Still, I mean, Blizzard's one of the best when it comes to these kind of things. They obviously just took this, they built this little potted planter thing, and they just duplicated that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, the thing with Blizzard is they're really good when it comes to their low poly modeling and their textures. They spend a lot of time in their textures, right? So I mean, going back to this whole, things aren't straight, right? You can tell that this is not that straight. These are pointing a little bit off. They're not perfect. Over here, this is another artisan, and the very first thing that I noticed right away is this little table and this table is exactly the same. Now the only difference, and you're going to see this, is that blanket. Okay, that blanket on top here, and the blanket on the side. You also might notice that the blanket is the same blanket on this as well. Okay, so the only difference is they scaled it down to match and fit on the smaller piece. Right, same with this blanket. This blanket back here looks like it's using the same thing as well. Right, similar, something very very similar. Okay, again to save texture space, and maybe, I mean, I don't have access to this, but it'd be really cool to kind of see the UV texture layout of how they laid out all of this and how many textures they got to use. Or, sorry, yeah, how many textures they made, if it's like on 2 different materials, if it's 2 different UVs, 2 different textures. Something you also notice is this little carpet texture right here that she's standing on is actually the same ones on the back as well. Again, all they did was they just scaled it down, and then you know they scaled it down, made it a little bit skinnier, and then you can tell that the same thing is going on this roof. Same thing. They're using this little carpet texture on top of the roof. Again, to save space, change things up a little bit so that the roof doesn't look so boring. And again, they build a separate kind of piece to put on the right side. So this seems like a very almost like a, what do you call it? A standard for Blizzard, to build these nice little side props. What I really like about this one is the contrast in colors. They added some blue on this side and a blue on this side to kind of contrast with the red that's going on here. I believe this is, is she a gem? Yeah, she's the person that does the gems. So yeah, so that's really really cool. And again, to change up things on the table that's right up in front of you, they just added little small props. So this one has a bowl on it. This one has an piece of armor. This one has a shield. So super cool. Did they mirror this? It looks like they did, right? It looks like they kind of mirrored it to the right and left here. Like right down the middle, they just modeled it and just kind of changed things over. But if you notice that they added some stairs on the left side. Now this is probably just a separate piece that they built that they've attached to this main prop. And it works. It works. It changes it up. Personally, I don't think that those steps scale really well. Like, I don't. If someone is supposed to fit in here, it's obviously not going to fit. Someone's probably not. They can probably just lay in there or something. But scale-wise, it works properly. No one's going to doubt it. I mean, it looks really really cool. It looks like royalty or something, It's like someone. This is where someone just chills and sleeps. This is probably where the artisan sleeps.
Hey, come over here.
So
I've
let's see
got
here.
some
What else is
news
over
you
here?
really need to see.
So I mean, let's look at this gate, right? Kind of a similar thing. They're using this little piece, and they're just kind of duplicating it, right? I mean, and why not? People aren't gonna notice it. Notice that. Sorry. So pretty cool. Again, another one of these buildings, and I feel like I saw this building earlier as well, right? This is just probably another piece that they had already built, and they're just putting it back here, and then we're gonna go back. You can see all these little reused props, and these all work, and that's what makes Blizzard so amazing. Is you don't even realize that they're reusing so many props because
Don't tell
of the
anyone,
different
but I've got
small
some new
things, right?
items
Like
you
these
really
little sacks.
should
Someone
see.
actually went in and was in charge of building these little knickknacks in the world, right? Someone, their job was to build super low poly bows and arrows, bags of potatoes or whatever it is over there, just to lay around the world to make it look different. So these are things that a lot of people don't realize they appreciate it until they actually dissect into it, right? And this is the reason why I'm doing this series. And again, I mean, and this is what makes me really happy. Okay, this makes me really happy, and I shouldn't say this. This is what makes me really happy is when you see seams. Okay, because then that way you know that even a high class, top notch company like Blizzard, they have seams in their textures, and then this way, you know that not everyone's perfect, right? But when you zoom out, you don't even notice that seam. It's when you zoom in that you notice that seam, right? That's when you know you're a good modeler. Is you know how to hide your seams, right? So good job, Blizzard. Um, See these little small effects on these props, like the little swinging, the swaying of the lanterns. That's really cool. With the little glow on it. These little small touches make such a big difference in a well-polished game. Like if you notice this little hatchet wood thing, we also noticed it. Where was it? It was also somewhere in this environment, like here, right? And most people might not have seen that, but it's such a subtle thing. Someone went in and modeled these little small chips of wood for the level designers to go in place.
I have some new
Here's
items
a
that I'm
merchant
certain
here.
you'll love.
And there's a few merchants here, and I want to see if they actually just reuse it, right? So there's a couple of small little mats and stuff here. They have their little caravan or whatever you might want to call it, merchant booth thing. Let's go check out another merchant and see if they're kind of using the same thing.
I've dug up
So
some
no,
new
I mean,
things for you to take a
merchants
look
have
at.
completely different, depending on I guess what merchant they are, what they're selling. This guy's obviously selling armor and weapons. But I mean, even this, you can see this little shield thing. It's one shield that they've just duplicated, right? It's the same here. You can see that one over there. These axes, it's just the same axe, duplicated, scaled a little bit more, moved to the side, rotated. It looks different, right? Which is really cool. What else is there? I think that's pretty much it for this region that I can really dissect. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know if you guys like it or not. If you guys want me to do
The
more of
Order
these.
would never forgive me for falling in with
I think for a little while here I'll be doing these videos just because, again, it's I'll be playing a lot of games, and for the next week until I start work at EA. So I think this is just a lot easier for me to do, and it's quicker for me to just kind of get these videos out and show you guys how some of these big companies and big studios do these things. And it's also a good way for me to learn as well. If I want to continually improve as a 3D artist, I need to look and see what the best artists are doing out there. And so this is kind of like a homework for me, and while I'm doing my homework, I'm kind of sharing it with you guys. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. Subscribe to my channel and like the video. Thank you.